What's going on YouTube? Welcome to another video, another installment of the rebuild series. We're out here benching again and just going back to all these different compounds that we like to do, and grateful every day I can do them and that we're going at a rate that's, I think, fair and reasonable. You know, we're not jumping too far into it and not trying to get injured again. Pretty much standardizing our warm-ups here. You're going to see a lot of repetition just to coordinate not only the lifting, but also the safety of everything. Some days I'll push faster, push a little bit harder, make bigger jumps than other days, depending on how everything's going. But for the most part, consistency all around. And pauses are looking better from previous vids. And consistency in bar path is kind of coming back. So we're getting a lot better at benching after spending so much time off of it. Really happy about that. And to be able to just jump to a red again is going to be nice. I hate doing all the little jumps in between plates. You know, the quicker you can get to your working set, the better off you're going to be. So, you know, hopefully we'll be able to do our traditional, you know, red to yellow to get up to the 200s quickly and make these bench warm-ups pretty quick. I am focused more so now on the overhead press just because it's still not where I want it to be. The bench I have the confidence and I can feel the strength on. Overhead press is still something I'm going to have to work on and just really monitor. I'm okay with taking that one slow. That's okay with me. It's a lift that, you know, there's an upper threshold with what you can do, and just have to get my confidence back. But I think hitting it from all fronts, you know, upper body wise, from the shoulder, from the bench to the incline, is going to help really roll around kind of that movement pattern, and just slowly but surely. So you'll see here, I'm not touching the clavicle anymore. I'm basically just doing right below chin, and that's just for comfort. I was noticing anything lower, I was feeling not only unevenness, but stress in the shoulder and the bicep. So I'm hoping that will relieve itself with time and I can gradually return to range of motion, but it is what it is. I'm taking what I can get. I'm just happy to be able to do it. And honestly, I'm beginning to think that overhead pressing, touching the clavicle, at least for my build, was a little too excessive. Like I mentioned before, I've got really long forearms and then really long lower legs. So it's something that I have to work around. You can kind of notice the shoulder angle when I'm pressing. You know, if I'm going below the chin and touching the clavicle, I'm basically taking the stress almost completely off the shoulders. And really, you know, it could be beneficial for people that want to do it. But if you're already benching, and for mobility and safety reasons, any sort of movement that's going to create balance is probably not best. I simply can't get the same range of motion with the left side, at least for right now. Dumbbells I can, because I can manipulate the range of motion, but also with bench, you're in a different plane. You're not as restricted by the shoulder movement and range of motion. So just really hitting everything, and everything's a compliment, you know what I mean? We'll be able to come back and do things and really just showing you, you know, look at the angle on these dumbbells. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but it really just depends on where you feel the contraction, where you can get the longest range of motion and take advantage of all that. So it is what it is, and just various angles here just to kind of show you exactly kind of like what's going on. So ultimately, it just depends on, you know, your limb length, the size of your pecs, stuff like that. So cable flies here to really just round everything else out, and you're going to notice I'm going slow and I'm really just trying to find my form again. You don't really want to just go, you know, completely perpendicular to the cables that you're doing flies on. It's more of like an arc and a curve, so you kind of have to do that kind of like cable fly movement, and with the cables you can manipulate them better. You're not as locked in. You can kind of let them travel in certain points in order to get the contraction. You know, you can do these with dumbbells and you can manipulate, you know, angle and increase range of motion, but with the cables, there's a position, there's a point where it's ideal for you, and also the more weight you add onto it, you start limiting strength in certain areas depending on the range of motion. So I'm just finding one that works for me where I can get the best contraction nice and slow and then kind of go from there. lat pull downs here. Remember, this is the day for all upper body. Just to kind of catch up and a little extra, volume on top of everything else, just around everything else. So nothing too crazy. Just getting a pump on a Saturday, which is really nice and fun. Something that's not going to be too stressful on the system. It's not like a heavy leg day where you're going to be like obliterated and destroyed. So just do what you need to do. Add things, remove things if it's too much. I was doing in the past 3 back-to-back supersets of arms, so like a tricep and bicep exercise, and I'm realizing now, adding in these compounds, I'm hitting them in a different manner. I don't need that, so I can just do 2 supersets and maybe just 1, or you don't even need to do that much. You're getting a lot of residual carryover from these compounds. From the rows, you're hitting the bicep, and if you're, taking your time, you can get a really nice contraction in there. Same thing with bench press. If you're doing close grip, it's a real nice overload mechanism for the triceps, and it's not like you're going cold. You haven't used them during the workout, so that's what I've always found to work. And I just enjoy moving around in the gym doing different stuff, so it really just depends on like what you can, your time management skills and also your recovery. So I originally just wanted to do some sort of pressing, just because lately pressing, it gets more difficult at the upper echelons compared to like squat and deadlift, just because you've got more muscle groups you can you can recruit and use in those movements. So anything else that requires like a lower threshold, like obviously benching 300 pounds is not, you have to train for it. It's not elite or anything, but majority of people can't do it. And so naturally our threshold for upper body movements is way lower. So you're either going to get there quickly and reach a standstill point, or, you're going to be more limited with the amount of weight you can move. Obviously 400-pound deadlift is not unheard of for an untrained, or not an untrained person. No. I mean, if you're a freak, you're untrained, you can pull 405. But for the average people, like they'll kind of land between that 400 and 500 pound range, assuming ideal form and staying safe. When you start going like 500 plus, that's where unless you're a power lifter, those are really like, at least in the gym for normies, like elite level stuff. So it just depends on what your goals are. And my goal has always been to add weight over time and just try to do more, try to work towards stuff. That's what makes me excited. That's what keeps me in the gym. And that's what I want to do. I'm not going to be the strongest person in the world, and that's fine with me. But I'm going to do whatever I can to just add weight to stuff. And looking like a melted sundae cone here with the incline curls. Like I said, a lot of body fat covered the midsection and chest. Very weird. And I do hate it, but that's the motivation to try to lose all of it. And now that we can consistently train, we're going to definitely take the dieting and stuff a little bit more seriously. I was kind of hesitant when recovering. You don't really want to limit nutrient intake when you're trying to recover. So take things in stride. Nobody's in a hurry. Take things the way you need to take them. Manage other things in life, and the gym isn't everything. So basically that's the message for today. There's different stages of life, and you're gonna find different struggles in them. There'll be benefits and stuff too, but do it safely so you're not incapacitating yourself and making things worse. But that's the workout for this Saturday. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching the latest video. If you want to help support the channel, I actually own my own wet shaving and grooming e-commerce website where everything's handmade by me. It's www.apexsoaps.com, and you can get a 10% off code using wet shaver. We've got some cool scents here. We've got some Coca-Cola scents, a horchata scent, traditional barbershop, just some really cool stuff. And you can purchase samples or you can buy the whole set. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. Be quick to respond. Thanks for watching.